Skorid the Halfspawn fusion is here. We're going to take a look at the calendar and figure out a strategy. Hey guys, finally he sleeps here, back again with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're going to take a look at Skorid the Halfspawn, the new fusion for the month of August, and discuss what we can do with the calendar to get the most out of this event. The calendar was just released. There is a lot going on, but if you look at it, it is a straightforward fusion calendar. There's no fragments in this. You're just collecting the rares to build the epic, and then the epics you fuse to make Skorid the Halfspawn. One thing to note is you have to complete the fusion before the fusion ends. You can't hold this like you do with the fragments and then use for a future champion chase. So it's this has to be completed before the fusion goes away. And there is the odd ability to pull a rare or pull an epic as you're using shards throughout this event. And if that happens, then it's going to jump you way ahead, but you cannot rely on that. So there's a little bit of leeway here, but not a lot of leeway. You're going to have to use the components to grab these rares. And those rares will come out of the events that we have here. It doesn't look like there's going to be a whole lot of spares unless you go after that first summon rush and grab an epic. If you go all in on the first summon rush, use a ton of shards, and pull an epic, then you're going to be 4 events ahead. So that's your buffer zone, is whether or not you want to go all in on that very first one. But we're going to look here at the very beginning. This is the stuff that the mistakes that people make right out of the gate. They release the event and it's like Dragon and Champion training. People are pumped and ready to go. So they jump into Dragon. They waste a bunch of energy on Dragon because the Dungeon Divers event doesn't start until tomorrow, and you gain a lot more Dungeon Divers points farming Dragon than you do Champion training. So the best thing you can do is hold on day 1 for Dragon until Dungeon Divers releases. The Champion training, wait. If you're training through campaign, wait on that portion of Champion training until Dungeon Divers 1 opens as well. You can use brews and you can rank up and anything that you're doing in the tavern on day 1, but everything else, try to wait. The whole thing with these fusions is it all comes down to are you holding, are you waiting, are you planning so that you can duplicate and get things done at once. So if you wait on campaign and Dragon until day 2, you can use both of those to double up and knock out Dungeon Divers at the same time. Classic Arena and Artifact Enhancement there for the second rare, those will come into play on Saturday, and they're kind of standalones. You're going to use all the coins you earn from Dragon to be able to do Artifact Enhancement 1. Spider, the third event in the second rare, you can overlap with Dungeon Divers, so you'll be able to get that on the first Dungeon Divers event if you're short and right there. But once you have Dungeon Divers 1 complete, hold on Spider until Tuesday when Dungeon Divers 2 unlocks, so that you can duplicate those as well. All this is about paying attention to the calendar and not wasting energy and resources until you're hitting 2 things at once when it comes to training and dungeons. That Dungeon Divers is going to have a gap in the middle where nothing is going to affect it, but you're going to use all of the coins that you make from the Spider tournament towards Artifact Enhancement 2, which unlocks next Thursday. Fire Knight will double up there with Dungeon Divers. You see an overlap on that, and there's even a tiny overlap on Champion Chase. So as you come down towards the end of Dungeon Divers, if you've still got some room to move, if you jump into campaign, you can earn some points on Dungeon Divers and Champion Chase at the same time if you get lucky enough to pull some uncommons and rares out of the campaign there as you're doing both of those. As we move into next weekend, if we take a look at this, once we get that Dungeon Divers, the next one opened up, and we kind of come in towards the end of this, Dungeon Divers 3, you will overlap with Fire Knight a little bit, and then it will also overlap with Ice Golem once we get into that 4th and final rare. So we're going to try to double those up as well. Classic Arena, they don't use anything other than Classic Arena tokens, so any of those, they're standalones. You can just do those while you're waiting on the duplicates for the dungeon events. So Ice Golem knocks out Dungeon Divers 3, and it will bring up enough coins into the mix so that Artifact Enhancement 3 is easy to complete. Champion Training, if you've got an Ice Golem team that can train players, that can train champions as you're doing Ice Golem, fantastic. Otherwise, that's going to be a campaign farming portion there at the end. But overall, it is just straightforward. It appears to be the easiest fusion we've seen. You have Summon Rush there at the very beginning, and then we have a Champion Chase about 2/3 of the way through. So if you go into that Summon Rush and decide to go all in on the second, if you can claim the second reward and grab an epic out of that very first Summon Rush, then you'll be able to skip Champion Chase. You'll be able to skip a Dungeon Divers and some dungeons, but at the cost of shards. So it's completely up to you. If you get lucky at any point, like I said earlier, and you pull somebody that's going to make a difference, if you pull an epic or a rare as part of Champion Chase or the original Summon Rush, then you're golden. This isn't going to be an issue at all. But again, this is a fantastic fusion. This is one I wouldn't want to miss. This is unlike the Packmaster, the last one we've had. This one has utility right out of the gate, specifically for HYDRA, but as well as Arena. This is a good champion. This is a good fusion for the month of August. This is one of the better ones we've seen. And over the course of the year, I feel like if you've got 12 fusions, this one's going to be in the top 6 of 2024's calendar year. So I wouldn't miss out on this one. The last thing to note here, as far as all of the calendar goes, be intelligent with your shards. If you've held Packmaster, the fragments from Packmaster, hold that all the way until Champion Chase. If you haven't opened him by now, there's no sense in opening him early. I would just go ahead and wait until you have the opportunity to gain the points out of him. A few other notes we have here is, if you're coming into this with the 2x2 method where you have 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, don't go too crazy into this when you're not benefiting from it. So once you've finished out Summon Rush, if you're not going after, if you do not have the shards to guarantee that epic, then stop and hold those for Champion Chase. It's just about intelligence when it comes to this stuff. That's it. I'm FinallyHeSleeps. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe here on the Raid channel so you never miss when any of our videos or guides go live. And then check me out on Twitch as well, where we stream Raid Shadow Legends a couple of days a week. As long as you guys keep showing up, I'll keep making videos. And then while you're at it, check out my other channels over here on YouTube as well. FC Mobile, Gearheads, which is all things car related. That's my main channel on YouTube. And then for a few laughs, check out the Cringeworthy channel. Till next time, I'm FinallyHeSleeps.